So good to see our DD2 Masters back in action. Their first race out of 3 today. And here is your starting grid. France's Paul Louveau in the 564 secured pole position after qualifying yesterday. And alongside him, he's got Belgium's Tom Dessert on the front row. Poland's Sławomir Morański, the inaugural Euro Trophy champion back in 2018 in this class, starts on row 3, and alongside him he'll have De Backer, Cole Clevoort from Belgium, who also has won some championships, but he's never gotten to the Euro Trophy crown just yet. He won the 2019 B&L Karting Series and the Belgian Max Challenge Championships in that same season, so he could be one to watch here. Rudy Champion, the B&L Karting Series champion from last season, he starts P5. Alongside him will be fellow countryman Christophe Capitain. The reigning and defending champion, Germany's Sebastian Rumpelhardt, is on the inside of row 4, and alongside will be Ian Geps from Belgium. Christophe Adams from Belgium in the 555 has got Alessandro Glauser alongside from Switzerland, and they round out the top 10. The 2019 not only Euro Trophy DD2 Masters champion, but Grand Finals champion, Roberto Pajewski from Austria starts on the inside of row number 6. With him will be France's Bruno dos Santos. Damien Loiseau, Marco Winkler and Leo Kirstens round out the 15 strong. So this is actually quite a novelty here. Three champions from the last 3 seasons, and one of them just so happens to be a Grand Finals champion. But then also in this field, Christophe Adams is a 2-time Grand Finals champion in both Max Masters and DD2 Masters. And he's also the most decorated Grand Final participant, I think, with 18 on his tally so far. So, red lights ignited on the starting gantry. 10 minutes for this race, plus 1 lap, and then we'll have 2 senior Rotax heats before we go into the lunch break. A brief reminder to those in the paddock, all teams, please be advised no warming up of engines in the paddock is allowed under CIK FIA governance and regulations, and also engine silence is required for the lunch break between 1 and half 1. So on the timetable it does say engine silence. So Paul Louveau will lead them along with Tom Dessert onto the rolling start, which we are about to commence with. Drivers now quickly get themselves into formation. They now start making their way through turn 12. The front row start lining up into the tram lines. Full start. Race director not happy with that. Loiseau was a little bit further ahead of Tom Dessert. They need to be pretty much level, and that is the second full start of this weekend's racing. So a 33% strike ratio for full starts. 4 clean starts, 2 full starts, 1 in the first junior heat. So once again, your grid is as follows. Loiseau, Louveau, Dessert, Morański, Clevoort, Champion, Capitain, Rumpelhardt, Getz, Adams, Glauser, Pajewski, Dos Santos, Loiseau, Winkler and Kirstens. 15 drivers. And they represent 7 different nationalities. So this looks a little bit more composed, a little bit more controlled. It's always down to the front row to get things underway. They're the ones that are controlling proceedings. They need to help back the field up. And this time, Loiseau is making sure that he is trying to stay ahead slightly of Tom Dessert, but on this particular occasion, Dessert is lining alongside Morański and Clevoort. Clevoort has moved to KMD, running on Sodi machinery this year, having switched from Bouvin Power. Into the tram lines we go. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights out. We're off and racing. And Louveau gets a brilliant start. And Moransky goes up the inside. And then Rudy Champion decides to feather his way through and gets into the lead. But Paul Louveau, with an absolutely brilliant turn of speed, hooks up the back end of that cart. And the Frenchman decided to sprint away into the lead as they head through turn 5 for the first time. But Rudy Champion, there is a contretemps. Oh, there's been a moment. Moransky, and he gets hit by that. That is the 506 of, oh my goodness, the 2018 and 2019 champion. Moransky and Pajewski, unfortunately, come to blows. Now, there was a little bit of a moment where Moransky went completely sideways. He was pitched around the other way, and Pajewski pretty much had nowhere to go on that one. Oh my goodness. That's the start of things to come, is it, with 3 champions in this field? I don't know what to expect next. However, oh, someone's definitely exiting stage left a little bit. And that was coming out of turn 10. That was possibly the 502 of Christophe Capitan going a bit sideways as the 505 of Damien Loiseau gets past Leo Kirstens. But Paul Louveau leads the way. Rudy Champion trying to slingshot his way up into the lead. Through into turns 1 and 2. On that particular occasion, not happening. As Ian Gepps gets past Tom Dessert briefly through turn 2, but Dessert back on the power and gets past through turn 3. The 2 Belgians going for it, hammer and tongs. Rumpelhart going sideways, coming out of turn 4. As Ian Gepps trying to go round the outside of Tom Dessert, and he got the move done before the apex. That's absolutely ridiculous right there. But Tom Dessert looks over his right shoulder, looks to see where Sebastian Rumpelhart is, and then Christophe Capitan has decided to factor in, as Alessandro Glauser, I think, has just overtaken Christophe Adams, who is running on the KR chassis with Sheepers Racing. So at the moment, Louveau and Champion, it's a French contretemps at the sharp end of the field between 2 respective countrymen. But looks like Louveau has got this thing absolutely hooked up in the wet, and he just left Champion behind as if he was standing still. Carl Klibble, and when you look at it, we've got a Red Speed chassis at the front of the field. We've got 2 Sodicart chassis in second and third, then an Esprit with... well, it was an Esprit before Ian Gepps decided to bring Kart Republic into the mix. And Sebastian Rumpelhart trying to close on Tom Dessert, who is back-to-back kickoff champion for DD2 Masters in the B&O Karting Series kickoff on, oh, 3 wide coming out of, that was turn 2. And that was at the back end of the field. Looked like that was possibly Pajewski in the midst of all of that. But now Tom Dessert trying to do his level best. Christophe Adams is ahead of Bruno dos Santos. And that was Damien Loiseau. Marco Winkler, the German, based in Saxony. He's now on the Parolin chassis. As Loiseau drifts a little bit wide going through into turn number 7. But manages to catch it there. As Loiseau trying to go around the outside of Pajewski. And Pajewski does his level best to keep it up the inside through turn 9. So Pajewski knows that he's got some work ahead of him. Last year, he came to Wackersdorf and he took a double victory. It was a one-off appearance. Never in my wildest dreams would I speak to him here at this paddock, and he says, yeah, I think I'm doing the whole season. You know, just that casual Austrian shrug. But he's got to work for it. You know, there's not been a 2-time champion in DD2 Masters so far. So we had Moransky, we then had Pajewski, then we got Rumpelhart as well. Now, that is a moment for one of the drivers, who is, that is the 506. That is Pajewski, of all people. So Pajewski trying to do his level best as, there's a bit of a contretemps going into turn 7. That was Sebastian Rumpelhart up the inside of Tom Dessert, and Dessert's trying to send it round the outside. He nearly got it, but it was about halfway through the corner, through into the apex, and Dessert decided to back out of it. That was a really good strategy call, because he knows where that kart is quick. He knows where he can put that traction down and go for it. However, that time is not quite yet. Paul Louvaux and Rudy Champion continue to stretch their advantage over Karl Klibort, who is coming under fire now. Right, 2 times time penalties, and we've had... Oh, now this has changed everything. Paul Louvaux has been hit with a 3-second time penalty, as has the 5.07 of Switzerland's Alessandro Glauser. 2 wheels out of the tram lines on the rolling start, so they slightly broke formation. So that could put Paul Louvaux down into the runner-up spot for this particular race. So Rudy Champion needs to keep within 3 seconds of Paul Louvaux to take the victory. But if Paul Louvaux, who's just set the fastest lap, incidentally, a 1 minute 14.376, and that was fractionally faster by just 41 thousandths ahead of Rudy Champion. So Champion and Louvaux keeping pace. Pajewski on the fight, on the comeback trail, it looks like, as Moransky. They're also battling away. Now, this looks like, this is 2 champions going toe-to-toe. And Pajewski got up the inside of Moransky through turn 7. Moransky went a little bit wide going through turn 8. As we have 3 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock remaining to go in this race. Louvaux crosses the line. 1.3 seconds is his advantage over Rudy Champion. So in the next 3 minutes and 40 seconds plus a lap, Paul Louvaux now needs to start motoring. But Rudy Champion showed his prowess in the BNL Karting Series, taking the championship last year. But also, he was one of the contenders for this crown and finished 3rd in the standings on 69 points behind Moransky. So Louvaux trying to stretch a lead. Rudy Champion definitely needs to stay where he is. But also, you've got to look at it that Karl Klibort, he has just put in a 1 minute 14.748, his personal best of the race. And he is 2.15 seconds behind Rudy Champion. So if Karl Klibort gains another 4 tenths and a bit in the next 2 minutes and 50 seconds plus a lap, what this means is that Paul Louvaux will drop to 3rd place. But Louvaux trying to concentrate on the task at hand. Get the kart through the corner, put the accelerator down to the floorboard, and go across the line, which he's just done there. And he puts in another fastest lap. 1 minute 14.351 for the Frenchman. Extends the gap to Rudy Champion to over 1.6. Karl Klibort is now nearly 2.5 seconds behind Rudy Champion, and Ian Gepps is trying to close him down, but Klibort was faster by over by over 1/10.5 in that last lap alone. So on lap number 7. So Louvaux, in the next 3 minutes or so, will have to try and find another 1.4 seconds. But Rudy Champion has closed that gap. The pendulum is swinging from left to right, forwards and backwards, if you will. So Louvaux, at this rate, could secure 2nd position. And Alessandro Glauser, he will be dropping a couple of positions if things stand as they are, if he stays in 8th place. The gap between... Oh, now that's the 5.10. Karl Klibort. Now, where is that? That is on the exit of turn 10. Karl Klibort had a massive drama. He was up into 3rd position as Leo Kirstens now has pulled off the track. And that looks to be a retirement, unfortunately. But Karl Klibort running in P3. Could have had a real shot at a top 2 finish in this race. But drama for the Belgian now drops him all the way down to 14th position. 43 seconds on the clock remaining. The gap between Louvaux and Champion last time was 1.37 seconds. As Sebastian Humpelhart, I think, is closing in. He is. He's trying to go for P3. That is on Ian Gepps, and Tom Dessert is about 1.5 seconds behind this battle. So Humpelhart, based out of Berlin, now trying to close in on Gepps, running in the Sheepers Racing colours on the Kart Republic chassis. as Rumpelhart really having to work behind that wheel to get the kart to do what he wants it to do, not to let the kart control him. And he gets up close and personal going through into turn 12. As Louveau crosses the line with 2 seconds to go. That's the closest we've had so far. We go on to the last lap of the penultimate lap of this race, lap 9 out of 10. And Rumpelhart didn't get as close as I thought he might have done going through in towards the run towards turns 1 and 2. But he hooks the kart up, turns it, points, and hits the throttle. And sometimes this is about modulation. This is about how you work with not just your machinery that's underneath. You've got to have sympathy for it, unless it's in the heat of battle, of course. But you've also got to look at the situation, read it as it happens, as now Rumpelhart is on the back bumper of Gepps going through into turn 8. And, oh, the German nearly sideways going through the first part of the corner. As you can now see that Ian Gepps knows exactly where he is and where Rumpelhart is, as Rumpelhart now needs to start pushing. We're going to get the last lap board in just a second for our leaders. So, Louveau still in the lead, but Rudy Champion, the gap was 1 second last time. That's going to be probably the best part of 7 tenths, I would imagine, between the pair. They cross the line to go on to the final lap. 0.676 between first and second. Ian Gepps is ahead by just under half a second in front of Sebastian Rumpelhart, with Tom Dessert a further 1.4 seconds adrift. And Dessert looks to be closing, but it's not going to be enough. So, Leo Kirstens retiring on lap number 6 of the race, unfortunately for the Dutch driver, running on the MS chassis. And Klebo will be, I think, well, he'll be disappointed, being a complete understatement, dropping all the way down from 3rd to 14th, having started on 4th. And, you know, other drivers compromised in this race. Moransky down in 12th, as Rumpelhart still trying to do his level best. He got a really good run going wide through turn 8 as the two leaders are literally line astern going into turn 10. Rumpelhart is trying to go for it into turn 10. Rumpelhart will not get the inside line, but he goes a bit sideways trying to hit the throttle, as now the leaders will take the checkered flag. Paul Louveau will hang on to it on the road, but post-race he'll get a 3-second time penalty. So by default that makes Rudy Champion the race winner. Louveau on the road gets first, but Champion will take it. And Rumpelhart on the last lap steals 3rd position. I think there might have been a little bit of a drama there for Ian Gepps as he was trying to fight with the German going through into turn 12. And Rumpelhart, the defending champion, puts himself into P3. Having started down in 7th position, Ian Gepps and Tom Dessert round out the top 5. So a pair of Belgians there. Alessandro Glauser in 6th, Bruno Dos Santos in 7th. Roberto Bajewski, credit to him where credit is due, back up to P8 by the end of the race. Christophe Capitan in 9th, Marco Winkler in 10th. Moransky, it could have been so much better for the Polish driver, the inaugural Euro Trophy DD2 Masters champion back in 2018. He finished in 11th. Christophe Adams in 12th. Damien Loiseau in 13th. Carl Klebo was running P3 until dramas off of turn 10 dropped the Belgian down to 14th, with Leo Kirstens retiring on lap number 6.